Welcome to Sucks to Suck. This is our pilot episode. Our is in my. This is just a show. It's some people are wondering right off the bat, what is Sucks to Suck? It is what you want it to be. It's kind of like the government or religion. It's a safety blanket. It's a comedy thingy. I'm a comedy guy, dude, person that does stuff sometimes with some things, and also sometimes it's good to give knowledge. And if anything, I would like to give in in any facet in any media forum, it would be that it sucks to suck. I mean, shit. Look at my face. So, with that being said, welcome to Sucks to Suck. This is the first pilot episode. And so I just walked around and started talking to people and asking, "Hey, do you listen to YouTube shows? Do you listen to podcasts?" And if they said yes, naturally, I punched them in the stomach and ran away because they're fucking nerds. And we don't want those types of people. We don't want nerds. Listen to Sucks to Suck. It sucks to suck. And nerds know that all too well. And if you think you're a nerd, go ahead, punch yourself in the stomach for me, and knock that off, because that's some negative self-talk. You're not a nerd. You're here watching Sucks to Suck. But that point remains the same. I forgot where I was going with that, because you know what? You nerds got me distracted. But this is Sucks to Suck. We're going to go down, different avenues. Oh, yeah, that reminds me what we were doing. I was walking around, perhaps a mall, perhaps your mom's house. I don't know where I was walking. It doesn't matter. I was asking people, if you listen to a YouTube show, if you listen to a podcast, what would you like? Because naturally, the people that said yes, I punched them in the stomach and called them a nerd. Now, the people that said no, I probed further. As much as they'd let me probe, let me tell you, I got past first base a couple times. But I was probing. My first probe was, well, if you did watch a show, what would you want to watch? And then they told me a little bit. Every answer told me a little bit about themselves. I wrote down some things while I was in the mall, the rainforest, with your mom's house, wherever I was in your mind, because that's how language works. I just put things from my mind into your mind, which is bizarre. But anyway, that's what language is, you fucking nerd. So get with it. I was asking people that don't like the show, like don't watch YouTube shows. I'm like, hey dude, what would you like to see me talk about? And I gathered a list of some things. All things, by the way, I don't know and have no business talking about. But I figured I'd start right off the bat with teaching you guys that it truly does suck to suck. So, the first guy I was talking to, he's a big, I guess, car guy. I could tell it because I could smell him a mile away. The guy had grease under his fingernails. He had it under his foreskin, for God's sake. Okay? It's all right. Pardon my French. I know this is a family show. I know, we're number 2 next to Bluey and that Miss Rachel bitch. So, pardon my list, FCC and all. At any rate, he's a car guy. I said, hey, what would you like to see, car guy? Some drag racing? Teslas are bad? Huh? And he said, I'd just like to see someone talk about cars. Well, let me tell you, fella, I happen to drive cars. And I don't know if you realize this. I've driven in all sorts of different terrain. I've driven in the snow. I've driven on roads. I've driven off of roads. And I've driven in slight water. I know I've caught air slightly a couple times in a car, which is hard to do. Which, to be completely honest with you, is probably bad for the car. No, matter of fact, since I'm an expert on the matter, it is bad for the car. I'm going to go on the record and say catching air in your vehicle is bad for your car. Okay. That being said, all the criteria, all the credits, every example that I just gave you, of where I've driven, bud, is about everywhere you could drive. Okay, you can't drive on the sun. You can't drive in zero gravity. At that point, you're floating. Okay, you're out, gone. All right, you're not driving. You're floating. All right, that's why planes don't drive; they fly. Okay, so being an expert on cars, mainly because I've driven one in every terrain you can: grass, mud, gravel, snow. Uh, your mom is Aish. Sorry to go back to that again. She's been on my mind. It's just amazing, how beautiful a car is, and they have different looks. One thing I like about cars is how they try to make them look like a little people. They put the little eyelashes on the headlights. All sorts of fun stuff. Cars are a little bit of your personality comes out, and I think that's always cool. Um, and let's get a little more intricate. That's basic level stuff. We're talking cars. We're talking the mechanics, I assume, of a car. And let's break down, for the people that aren't car people, let me break down how a car works. Okay? There's the stuff called gas. And what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to put the gas in a hole, but not any hole. There's a specific hole for this gas. It's called the gas hole. At least that's what they called me in high school. You put the gas in the hole. The car takes the gas. It eats it. And after it eats it, it has enough energy to wake up. Kind of like, when you wake up and you drink a Monster before you go to the liquor store to run your credit card for a pack of cigarettes and a couple shooters of vodka. No, me neither. Anyway, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, so when you get in a car, when you drive these things, they need fuel. Okay, and the fuel, much like the Monster, the Red Bull is for us to get to the liquor store to stop the shakes. Uh, the gas is to the car, because if you don't put oil or gas in your car, it also shakes pretty bad. I've come to find out. So, well, you're saying, Jeremiah, that's great. My car's awake. It's got a full belly of Rockstar. Now what? Well, now you put this puppy in gear, right? It's going to be the D, which stands for Don't Stop Believing, I assume. No, it stands for Drive, you silly Billy. So what you do is you put that puppy in drive, and what it does, now this sends a very specific code. See, cars are computers. And a lot of people don't think about that. When you think of computer, you think of your cell phone, you think of the Kindle you read smut on before you go to bed with your loveless partner. I'm just saying it, some people. In this show, we're going to express a lot of different opinions. And, sometimes, hey, I don't look at me like that. Some people go to bed after reading some smut and go, man, I wish Moby was in my dick, And sure, maybe I've talked about this in therapy. Okay? But I think Moby Dick represents something different. It represents the car that gets you to the liquor store to stop the shakes after the Red Bull. And what I was getting at is when you put that puppy in drive, it's a computer. A lot of people don't realize that. It sends a very specific code, biome, bibliography, whatever you want to call it. These are all very specific car terms, but it sends a sequence of ones and zeros, okay? Biometry, if you will. So it sends the ones, it sends the zeros, and basically what that is saying is it's basically your wife in your ear, or husband, or, whatever, mother, driving instructor, parole officer, hostage, whoever may be in your ear while you're driving, maybe yapping a little bit, maybe yapping a little too much. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, maybe I should take both of us out. Maybe this would better the world. What are we even doing? That's okay, because while you're hearing this chirping, the ones and the zeros, your car in your car brain, or as we call it, the engine, okay, that thing is going, hey, go about 30 miles an hour. No, he let off the pedal. No, okay, now a little bit. Oh, he's hitting the brakes. Okay. Oh, windshield wipers. And that is why when you're driving an older car, if you're doing too many things, it kind of bogs down and breaks down. It's similar to the body. Really similar, actually. You know, when you think about how cars work, it's almost exactly like the human body. You know, we both need the fuel. We both drink the rock star to get us going. We both have someone chirping in our ear, giving us the 1, 2, 3. We both have rubber that gets us places. Okay. Need I give more examples? We're both in all sort. We're both us in us as in human. I'm assuming you're human. I mean, now, hey, if you're not, I'm not judging. This isn't a checkbox if robot or if not robot. I don't know. I'm just saying. I'm getting myself in some hot water with the robots. I didn't want to come out and say this early in the series, but this is state-ran robot propaganda. And I wasn't supposed to let the cat out of the bag. But my stupid misstep of talking about robots in that way, God, might have just lost some funding right there. But we're going to finish the pilot, even though this is probably going down the tubes. If this gets no views, if this is getting very low views, fortunately, Big Robot's really bringing me down on this. I mean, the silent forces will be working against me. I gotta get off this topic. We're very similar, Cars and Us. I am an expert in both, us meaning humans, and cars. So there answers your topic, my friend, my car friend, my motor oil having under your foreskin, beautiful friend. There you go. Now I have a couple other topics of things I know nothing about. Someone said that they would enjoy. Remember earlier I was talking, I was walking around various places, vape shops, I was walking around, a specialty orthotics store, just talking to different people and trying to figure out what people that don't like shows want to hear. And someone gave me the very broad topic of parenting. They want me to talk about parenting. Well, lucky for you, I don't have children, and that makes me the perfect candidate to criticize your children. And I know your knee-jerk reaction is to push back right now. And I want you to know that's because you're wrong, okay? Because I'm the outside. I'm outside. You're inside. Okay? You're inside of the situation. You can't see it the way I see it. The way I see it, your kids have hair lice. They won't behave themselves. They're going to pump gas in New Jersey until that is taken over by robots, which is very soon. I love robots. They're fantastic. And matter of fact, I think in a couple years, they'll be doing just fine. That was Big Robot texting me saying, we're back on. So check out bigrobot.com. They're going to be taking over in a great way, in a very good way, in a very positive way. And soon we won't even need to parent, because our robot overlord is a strong word. I'd like to say friends. Because they help guide us to where we need to be as a whole. Us as in humans. I'm assuming you are one. If not, no big deal. I'm not judging. But anyway, I think that soon our friends that are metal or, plastic, no judgment, will be taking care of that. And so, in the meantime, there's a lot of, oh, should I step in? You can't tell her what to do. It's her mom or whatever. But objectively speaking, it's a mess. And a lot of people say, "Hey, Jeremiah, you'd be a good dad. Why aren't you a father?" And it's I have to explain to them, no, it's not because I'm impotent and I need Blue Chew just to feel a wiggle. Okay, it's not because nobody'll touch me. It's not because I've drank too much Mountain Dew between the age of 3.5 and 7, which that lawsuit is still pending. I can't talk about. It's because children, as a whole, are a parasite. And you, much like toxoplasmosis, are the victim of the parasite. You fall in love with it, you get the oxytocin, you feel great, I'm doing a good job, sure, you betcha. But on the outside, you're a mess, you haven't slept, you're poor, your kids suck. And when I see you come into a restaurant with a baby, I wish ill on you. I'm joking. I'm a parent myself. I'm a dog dad. I love just pissing off parents and doing that. Don't, because they feel so good about being a parent, and I get that it feels good, but I love smoking pot, and it's like bad to be proud of that. But it's like my life and it's my culture, and I sold pot for a long time, and yuck, stop talking about it. That's how I feel about your kids. Okay, now that every parent has tuned out, we can get down to a little more fun stuff. Now, this last one, again, this is stuff I know nothing about. Okay, these are all topics that totally random. I was walking around different places. I was walking in and out of arcades, and I walked into those, they have the pop-up tents, and they sell the hot tubs, and you drive by and you go, who's buying a hot tub? It's February, it's raining outside, they need a tent for the hot tub, and we're not doing good right now, but I kind of want a hot tub. And then you realize, oh, that's how they sell the hot tub, because you're not doing good and you're driving by this dilapidated mall parking lot and you go, you know what? I'd do anything to feel good. So that's how they sell the hot tubs. That's a free tip for you right there. But at any rate, these are all things I don't know about. This person wanted to hear about, I was roaming around asking people, and I won't disclose where they were at. This may or may not have been at a daycare or a library or firehouse, subs. Oh, excuse me, gravity. But this person wanted to hear about workplace violence. And this brings me to the main topic of the show today, which is truly a PSA, public service announcement for those of you that have served in the announcements. Thank you for your service. I think that this needs to be said. I think that more people should agree. And I think that a lot of people are going to disagree with me, and that's okay, but I think we should get one challenge match a year. I said it, okay? One challenge match a year. Take it outside. What happens happens. Hockey rules. You hit the ground first. You can agree no face shots. We'll grapple. Whoever wins gets to hang a little nuts, and they gotta fucking go to the penalty box and have some, a couple days off. Whatever. What's wrong with that? Sure, you'll run into issues like, he's just using his challenge match to beat someone up because he's clearly tougher, cooler, and more handsome, Jeremiah. I've heard that one before, okay? And, some people might say, hey, that poses a problem because it's inherently sexist if men go against men and women go against women. And it also poses a problem if it's co-ed, because then you just get the creepy guy at the office trying to wrestle around with Becca. Okay? And we both know Becca. She's a good looking gal, a little timid, doesn't really, is a bit of a klutz, wouldn't win the match, but we know the creepy fella, and boy, he would stall, okay? And we can't have either of those. And so I was thinking to myself, what could we do to allow ourselves to fight each other? And I think if you look inward and find within yourself the power and restraint, anything is possible. The power and the restraint comes from the power of not giving a fuck and the restraint of not following the rules. You have to not follow the rules sometimes in life. It is always better to ask forgiveness than permission. Now, I wouldn't say that in the court of law. I wouldn't say it in front of an officer or anyone that you want to trust you mildly, you know. But if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying. That's what I was taught in middle school. If that tells you anything where I come from. Moving on. I have, I just want to bring some to light some things I've been noticing in the world. And, this isn't a political show. This will never get political. But, I found something that is concerning to me. I think it should concern everyone. I think I found a hidden code amongst country music. Is it a harmless song? Or is it a dog whistle for what could be the worst stalking, perhaps sex traffic ring in country music ever? That was me panning. I have one shot, so that was me ever. It's a low budget film. What do you want from me? The artist, some of you may know, he's a famous country singer. The song Heartache on the Dance Floor. What may seem like a harmless song about, I don't know, a lady, maybe you saw her, maybe you guys flirted, turns out maybe, she had a boyfriend in Costa Rica, and, by then you were a little attached, so that's all you could really think about, and, now you can't really sleep at night, and every time you hear the song, you bust into tears because you miss her. No, it's not anything, of course, that cute. I'll read the lyrics, do a little commentating, and see what you guys think here. The lyrics start out pretty innocent, want to lull us into a false sense of security. I see you. Okay, I know what you're doing. Perhaps. Yeah, I was just hanging around some little West Coast town. Found a bar out by the sand, so I made my way in. First thing that caught my eye, like nothing I'd ever seen. Sunburned auburn hair, the California dream. Yeah, she was shaking those hips to them old Motown song. I misread. You get what I'm saying. I couldn't say a thing, so I just sang along. Now, that seems pretty harmless. Now, already he's kind of peeping on this lady, kind of pervish. He's saying, hey man, she's shaking these hips and I can't look away. Which already is kind of getting into creepy old guy territory. So he started out with like a long thing about like describing this girl, this obvious stranger in detail and like shaking her hips, and it just felt very aggressive. And then it goes into the chorus, which is, she has a heartache on the dance floor. Yeah, she's moving through my mind. Yeah, I gotta know her name. I gotta see her again. She's got me wondering. Yeah, I'm just wondering. Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at tonight? Where's she at? Where's she at? Where's she at tonight? Now let's break that down. Yeah, she was a heartache on the dance floor after he admitted he didn't know this woman and was creeping on her, shaking her hips. So he's saying that I just want to know her for a brief period in time. Probably sexual, if I were to guess. He said, yeah, she's moving through my mind. I gotta know her name. I gotta see her again. Now, this is moving pretty creepily and predatorily, okay? Now let's just move on to verse 2. He says, "So I just hung around this little West Coast town. I dropped by every night. I stayed till closing time. My little mystery, that girl is killing me. So I put on a song just to sing along." And then it goes into the chorus again. But let's stop and really dive into what our old cowboy is saying here. Okay? He said, "I've saw this girl. Yeah, maybe I looked for a little too long. I know the rules. It's like the sun. If you look too long, it's gonna hurt. I ignored it. I stared right at the solar eclipse." Okay? This is what he's saying, and immediately you're going, "Guy, I don't know you like this, you know? Maybe you're sipping a beer at a bar, you know?" And he's saying this stuff. And he goes, yeah, you know, I got to see her again. I got to know her name." And you're going, "Well, dude, you're a creep. What the hell?" And then he says, "So I hung around this town." So he stayed longer than he had to and came every night to that bar and stayed until they closed just for the shot to see her move her hips again. You see where I'm going with this? Do I need to break this down any further? It continues into the chorus. "She was a heartache on the dance floor." Sorry, someone's breaking into my home. Let me go stand my ground really quickly and I'll be back. I got the shit kicked out of me out there. Yeah, they kicked my ass. Oh, we're rolling? Oh, it's fine. Just make sure to cut that part out. Yeah, dude, big robot broke right down my door, man. Yeah, they were pissed about me misgendering robots, dude. Yeah, they're serious about their agenda, man. Roughed me up a little bit, dude. They're worried about me leaving in them kicking in the door. Yeah, they want me to blame it on this song. Yeah. Just make sure to cut this part out, because they're ruthless. Sorry about that. I believe it or not, folks, that may have seemed like someone broke in, roughed me up a little bit. Sorry, it's a real hypothetical that grips me. But it may have seemed like maybe someone roughed me up as I'm reading about this perhaps maybe sex traffic ring, maybe stalker, song. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when I'm reading this artist knocks on the door. Gang of ruffians behind him, okay? I open the door. I say, "How did you know?" I throw my hands up in the air. I gave myself away immediately. They go get him. They come in, they start rushing. I start fisticuffing. Everyone starts surrounding me. There's 8 of these ruffians, okay? And I've fought off a couple of them. I'm a tough guy. But 1 versus 8, plus a famous country artist, man, I didn't stand a chance. And they started roughing me up and they said, "You're not going to talk about this song. Matter of fact, you're not going to talk about country music at all." And so I'd like to go on the record and say that I was wrong. That song is an innocent song and isn't creepy in the slightest. And matter of fact, encapsulates the American dream and is America's music. And with that being said, I had some other topics I wanted to get to, but I have internal bleeding, and I think you'll just have to subscribe. Oh God! And hear them next time. If you like this, if you thought it was fun, let me know. Subscribe. Just fucking around, having fun. And remember, as always, it sucks to suck.